Well, it says I'm live. Gotta make sure I can get in here on that side. Jeez. Percent. Why is everything running at such a high thing? Jeez. I might have to go back and forth for a minute here. I've had that open for too long. Give me a second here. Still getting things set up. It's been a little while. Okay, that's at least better. Clear down that memory cache a little. That goes there. This goes here. Should be alright in theory. I'm alive with sound. Good. Okay, so if that's there, I actually shouldn't have to keep that open, hopefully. Good, good, good. In there, that's here, that's all over the place. Good. Good, good. 'Cause I do want to have the music in my headset, even though I can't play it for all you guys. Which should help keep things going. Oh, why is there two of those? Okay, 6. Okay. Now I'm good. Yay! So I'm working on getting this painting finished. Needs just a little bit more. And I've been sick, so I don't know how much I'm going to talk today. Huh. Okay, need a little cup for some spirits. Cup. Probably going to be using more linseed oils and mineral spirits for this last little bit, but still need to be able to rinse my brush out. Okay. Things got a little bit away from me earlier. Don't need more than a long palette, a small one maybe even. Wee little one. uh, uh, uh. Yeah, gonna be a lot of back and forth. Took a couple of cold tablets before, like a half hour ago, so hopefully I won't be blowing my nose and coughing too much. Mm. Yeah, so I'm basically just doing some detailing work in the center area. Although this is on an angle, so I gotta actually have a little reservoir for this oil elsewhere. So I still have one of those little cups. No. What do I have that I can put that in? Um, hmm. This'll work, actually, I think. As long as that's solid, it's not. Crap, now I gotta go up and get something. Actually, this is usually where lids come in handy. This'll work. Just a little lid from a jar to use as my oil reservoir. Although I might want to wipe that out. Wipe it out a little. I don't want any residual crumbly paint mess from whatever the hell was in this jar before. That should be work. That'll work. Figured because I've been sick, just being live is the easiest thing to do for this week. Is it glazing that I'm working on? Just detail work at this point. I want a little bit more, because the rest of the piece is relatively detailed, but this middle section's missing a lot. I knew it needed something else, and I was actually talking to my mom about it, and she's like, "The middle needs detail." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I needed somebody's opinion on it. And so I got this deep custom gray that's almost black, and a little bit of a pale yellow, which I've been using as white for most of this piece. And a liner, so I can just sit and relax. So probably kneel, honestly. The way I've got this set up, I kind of need a little more space. So I'm kind of mixing the oil and the spirits a bit. For a nice flow. I can just come in here and finesse a little bit more. Need a paper towel. Make sure I have some stuff to wipe away on the edge a little bit. Basically treating the paint like a thin ink and just sketching over top of a lot of this. Just trying to amp that contrast up a bit. I mean, it's already pretty solid, but so many ads on this playlist. But yeah, I got myself a little bit of a respiratory thing here. Hit me like a truck last Tuesday. I'm on the upswing, but it is still kind of lingering a lot. some of those textural drag strokes there too. Pick up on the underlying texture of the paint, or the dried paint, not the wet stuff. I've been trying to figure out where I'm gonna actually sign this painting. Last time I did a reversible, it was like both corners, but that would actually break up the piece too much. So I might just do the back. Is that what this was? Yeah. I'll do this with the dark gray, and then I'll come in with that lighter color and give the central highlights a lot more finesse too, and then that highlight between the center and the two sides, that way I can unify them more. I may have to mix up some. That was the other suggestion I got, was to put a little bit of the green in the red, and a little bit of the red in the green to help balance it. So just that extra little bit to kind of bring the piece together. If you guys have any questions, drop them in comments. I'll try to check on that every 10-15 minutes or so. Or roughly every time I get to skip the ad in my playlist. Yeah, that's already looking a lot better. I don't know if it shows up on camera or not, but yeah, that's good. Mm. Figure out where my water went here. Okay, that's pretty good with the darks on this side. I gotta flip it. Sorry, Mike was up on that. I gotta flip this about now. I'm pretty good with the darks on this side. Give it a little more finesse there. All right, flip time. Ugh. Might not need to see it in the colors. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think once I do the lights or the brighter colors, that should help because that'll be able to put through everything, and that should do it without having to wiggle the colors together. Besides, I'm really ready to be done with this piece. Better not to make extra work for myself. Ugh. Still hacking. Don't need that much. Come on. Stop. Now I gotta stand back up. Just for that. Just literally just for that. This is where oils really suck, is because I can't rest my hand on the right where I need to. My hands are too damn shaky to really get where I need to be here. I'm resting my heel of my hand right where I shouldn't be. I hope this is showing up on camera. I know this is really subtle in terms of everything I'm doing, but what the Canes painters? Oh, you're talking about a mall. Yeah, I don't have one of those. I could make one, but yeah, stick with like a padded ball on the end. Yeah, I don't have one of them. It's typically referred to as a maul, M-A-U-L. I think because I usually stand while I'm painting, so it's not as I usually just get up and move my body around. Not that like a yardstick or something wouldn't work. Would certainly probably save the stress on my shoulder, but also you have to be able to hold that steady regardless, and I just can't. The natural shake of my hands is a little more insane than most people's, and it's definitely not in the best. It's definitely not the best today. I'm definitely shaking more than usual. That's better. Mm. Okay, stand back up. I do have my stool here, but just the way I have the easel set up, it's not really the best direction for this. Oh, I definitely just dragged my hand through that. Yikes! Eh, can see that now. It's right on that waterfall. It's alright, I'll add more white on top of that. Or off-white, whatever the hell I'm using. Oh, jeez. Quit kicking the camera, damn it. Not a ton, it's alright. Yeah, I got... I think I've been working on this painting for like 3 months, so it's like, yeah, we got to be done with this at this point. It feels pretty good. Might do a little bit more with these upper rocks. I don't want to go too far up, but a couple little dots in there. Yeah, I feel pretty good with that. Have to switch out my spirits and my oil here so I don't pollute it with the dark. Luckily, I've found that mineral spirits and linseed oil make an amazing weed killer. All natural weed killer, sorta. Alright, dump that. Yeah, so this is a pastel mix that I made called Walnut Deep Gray. At least that's what I called it. So it's not exactly black, but it looks black for the most part. Yeah, that wasn't just a one-off video from like 5 years ago. I actually do make I do have a series of oil colors I've made out of chalk pastels that I use on a fairly regular basis. Okay. Gotta click the door open. Right, new spirits, new oil. And typically you're supposed to have like a fire safe can for all your rags and stuff, but I just dump stuff in like the weekly trash every time, just so it doesn't sit in my studio. Is that the way you're supposed to do it? No, but do what I say, not what I do, right? As they say. I exist in a practical workspace, not necessarily a safe one. Alright, dump this. Nasty grass. If I get this done and still have motivation left on the stream, I'll show you guys the other fun thing I'm working on. Similarly colored, interestingly enough. I'm actually not sure if this one's going to make it into the show for next year. I don't think it fits in the same way, but it's been really fun to work on. Alright, highlight color, Williamsburg Brilliant Yellow Extra Pale, and it's basically like an off-white. This I will likely extend up a little bit further into each of the pieces. I've been using this sparingly thus far, but yeah. Okay. Stand back up for figuring out what I want to do with this. I do have to think a little bit more with this one. The black's just black, but like not quite black, but still. I'm doing my best not to let them touch either. I don't want to make a gray at this point. I do want to get a stiff, longer, wider brush because I do want to give it a little bit of a... I will give the waterfall an extra little finesse at the very, very end. Oh, see, there's the gray I was trying to avoid. Do not want gray. Yeah, this is really, I got to be really careful with this. I can already tell that it's like if I do too much with this, it's going to push it too far in a different direction. Mm. I didn't think this would be this challenging to do. Because I got to hover. That's mostly what's going on with it. Yeah, I think that's enough. Just for that side anyway. A little bit more here. Some of those drag strokes up here. Okay. Get a stiffer brush here. And just the pure paint. I just want a little extra in here. Just makes that pop out ever so slightly more. Yep, that helped. Flippy. Is the greenish the top? Either side is the top. That's the glory of this piece is you can put it in either side and it works. But it is I feel like I spent more time on the green side. It is slightly larger. uh, all right. Okay. Nearly there. I gotta stop. I think that's actually too much. I say as I add more lines. Yeah, I think that's the unity I needed. I don't want to push too far up, because in theory the light's more coming from the center. All right. Just need that little extra bit of white on this side of the waterfall, and I think I'm good. Yay! I think I can call it there. Yep, I'm good with that. Let me zoom out. All right. Good. Done with oils for a while. Back to acrylics for sure. Let's see where I can back the camera up too so I can actually get this all together. There we go. Close enough. As I switch gears and move to the other piece. What do you think? Can I slide my signature in here somewhere? Probably not. It's got to just be the back. Hmm. Definitely one of the crazier pieces I've done in recent years. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I could tuck it in here or something, but then, of course, in like 3 months when I actually get to varnish this, it's going to make all those colors pop a lot more. Mm. A Lovecraft vibe. Huh. You'll get one of those even more so when I show you the other piece I'm doing. That's gonna need white. White. Okay, let's see what I can do to resituate the camera. In a minute. Up and over. I'll have to feed that through there to get... maybe not. Maybe I can get around this way. So, similarly colored this one. Because it started with this other oil base. I double check my focus here. Not sure if I can. I should be able to from this way. Yeah, we're good. Can't really get the top-down perspective for this one, but... So this is a fun new one. This one will be in the show for sure. I can just tell. The second I started this one, I knew. That's over there. So let's stick this on that side. Ugh. I can stay over there. So I got this started the other night. And this is in a way that'll probably screw things up in 50 years. This is actually acrylic over oil. Excuse me. And this is the first piece that I've done that's started being based off of all of these big page sketches. So I took a fan brush and just started pushing that paint around. Getting a really similar result to this, to the original sketch. And almost immediately after getting those black lines in, I'm like, this looks like a creature. It needs a big old eyeball. And that's where I'm at with this now. So this has been sitting for a couple of days, and I found that the white of this eye is way too white. I want it to be a lot more almost yellow. Hey Ron, good to see you. I'll have to show the other piece a little bit later once I'm through with more of that. But yeah, it's the first time I've done a creature in my work in probably like 2 or 3 years. So you can definitely say that I was overdue. So I want to get the eye basically squared away, and I'm going to thread in a lot more of the dark. I want very dark tendril kind of action here. And I already dropped in my figure here. I gave a little guy with a sword, holding it up and bracing for this creature. So I called this When Darkness Reaches, because I feel that fits a lot better to that. So I've got some Nicolazo yellow and some white. Let me get some brown in here too, because his eye definitely needs to be a lot less bright, because that's too much of an eyesore. And there's the only real white here is that fine edge of the splatter, because this is one of those leftover pieces from Splatter Worlds a couple years ago. So I really want to tone down that white into more of a brown, yellowish brown color. Actually, it might be too. That might be too brown. That's sort of like this color, but a little bit lighter. Yeah. So anyway, they subsequently called this When Darkness Reaches. So it's this push and this darkness. Darkness, very visceral kind of symbolic stuff. Hate when there's an ad in the middle of a song. That's ridiculous. But yeah, because I started on the side easel, I can't really set up the overhead right now. Would take a little too much, but can probably just adjust this camera a bit. Okay. Oh, water. Water would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Typically warm water. All right. Tell you what I actually really need to do though is give myself a guide here. Because I might not be painting the entire eyeball, but I need the visual guide to know where it is, so I actually am lighting this and shading it properly. How big was this? 1, 2, 3. Probably the one that's covered in paint. Alright, so that's the overall spacing of the entire eye, even though I'm not painting the whole thing. I was thinking about that the other night, too. I'm like, I'm going to have to draw that line on there just so I can visually kind of see it. Oh yeah, that's much better color-wise. Might add a little bit more on top. So I'll be layering that, layering the black back on top. I still want to let the indication show through if need be. And then the color of the eye, I was definitely thinking like a deep amber. Yeah. But getting that shaded right is important. Darker. Better. Much better. Yeah, this one's a lot more stylized. But rightly so. Alright. And probably pretty thin with the color. Basically almost like just a ring around that. Liner. Yeah, and then on top of this, I'm gonna work some thicker paint to really make those like that reaching edges kind of really stand out more. Compared to the other piece, this is like a lot simpler, but yeah, I didn't want to strictly go for a red eye because I feel like that's almost a little too cliched, but it felt like the yellow still gives a sense of eerie darkness to the whole thing. And some veins in a minute here. Nice deep red hairline veins, but just a couple. Nope, not that one. Thinner one. The thinnest liner. One there, one there, one here. There, that's all it needs, just those couple. At the very, very end, I'll probably take some thicker gloss gel to really make that shine too. All right, and the black back in here again. A little bit of black. I even put some of that red in the black as well. I just realized something fun I could do as well, which is going to make the piece even better. Once the black is done, put a little reflection of the sword guy in his eye. Which will really make everything kind of pop. Uh-huh. Yep, there we go. Okay, I'll leave some of that open and there. But I need some thick, dark black paint here. Yeah, probably, I'm not even necessarily dark. I can probably work with the gel a bit more. Might be the project to actually use the tar gel too, since I never touched that. Do I still have some tar gel? Yeah, good. Rinse that brush out. Yeah, this piece is really gonna shine when it comes to the textural component I'm putting in here. Because it's a, whoops, wrong thing. Because this is a really simple design in the grand scheme of things, utilizing more texture here is going to make everything really come a lot more alive. So, funny tar gel. Where's that other knife? There we go. Nice stringy resinous crap. So between that and some of the high solid, we should be good. That and some of that black. Mix that nice and slow so we don't get any crazy air bubbles, or at least very few. Might even put a couple of drops of the high flow in there just to keep it a little more loose. There we go. Now, where's my water at? Water! Make sure we don't lose our thinner viscosity here. Alright, now we get to have some drizzly fun. Alright, so I'm going to take this. It needs to be looser. More water. Looser. I need it to really drip. My tar gel is also kind of old, so it's started to thicken up a bit. Alright. Give me a blob here going. God, it's really thick. Need that so much thinner. Of course, now I got the air bubble thing going on. Alright. Just get more of that paint on there so I have a little more gravity going on. There we go. There it goes. Yes. That's what I'm looking for. That little liquidy drip. I can trace those lines with. Going for that really notable viscerality here. I want the viewer to really feel that movement and make it pop out. Move that around. But not there. Now this piece, and the idea behind it being more of a an experience of what this creature is. Pull some of that around here now. Now when this dries, it's going to be really glossy, but it should retain a lot of that texture. And you might think this big drip out of the thing is being more of a problem. Just going to let that go. Yeah, I do want to get a brush and pull some of this around though. Like a long round brush here. Just pulling some of that around. Now this will probably take like 6 or 8 hours to dry, but it gives me a nice starter. Can work around that eye too. Uh-huh. Right like that. There's our creature come to life. Haha! If I can get that a little bit more centralized. Can only do so much with this angle. So that's layer 1 with the texture. I'll do some knife stuff with another layer and that high solid gel. But does make for a much more interesting piece that way. Let's see if I can thin this out just a little more here with what I've got left on my palette. Utilize that on the brush. I always hate to waste too much paint. I'm not getting the resinous drip now, though. It's not enough medium to water ratio. Alright, oh well. Yeah. I'm going to switch out to the liner, though, so I can let that pull out. So this is our. It's off to the side here, but like again, like getting this started, I already kind of had so much of like the general story and everything just came to me really quickly. So it says it may breach back from the furthest corners of self-doubt, but I will always stand against the darkness. Against the it says this darkness, but I'm realizing now would be better if it's against the reaching darkness, because that's the title of the piece. In which case, then yeah. Really let that branch out more. I've actually been past couple of months. I've been playing Smash Brothers Ultimate online with a friend of mine overseas, and he kind of got me back into it after a while. I was playing a bit of the final boss, and the boss in that game for the like adventure mode, you get, if you haven't played it, I imagine most people have by now, but um, it kind of is like this. It's the like light and dark versions, and the characters are more like wings, but the dark one has it's kind of a lot like this in that sense that it's like reaching out for you through its darkness. The dark thing is reaching out through the darkness. Who would have thought? So I think somewhat subconsciously I was probably messing with that in my head like that. And this is one of those moments where it's like, like, what am I supposed to do with this weird gel medium? Something like this. You know, let the medium itself be your guide and find all kind of things within it. I will have to make the pink edge of this eye probably a little bit redder. But yeah, can't do much else with this point at this point now. And because this is a glaze and it's slightly translucent, some of that will dry through. But I won't know exactly how much until way later on. But that feels pretty good. Hey, Twisted Art Lady, welcome. All right, what else can I work on today? I'm kind of on a roll at this point. Oh, right, I still have that one too. I might get that started. Yeah, so this gets set aside. I'll clean my water. Yeah, I'll put a little shine on the edge of the eye here. Not really white enough. Yeah, that'll be the harder thing is to getting the a tiny version of the figure into showing up on the eye. But it'll be a great little detail for later. Little shiny for the eye. Jumping into visual techniques I haven't touched in probably like 20 years. High school era stuff, you know? Okay. Set them aside. Actually, I would scrape that into my used paint. Used paint. Don't waste it. Okay. I will set this in the corner with the high solid gel to remind me what the hell I'm doing later on. Mm. But I'm not sure what I'm going to do for color on this. So, a lot of stuff's been very red this year. So I might want to focus more on like blues and greens. So I'm just going to start by slapping some color onto this and getting a new palette, of course. Loose, washy color. And I'll figure things out as I go. So, I think I'll start with a little chromium oxide dark. Haven't been using that color enough lately. And I'll mix that with some cobalt teal. Just a little. And a little high flow diox over here. Offset with some transparent red. That'll be a decent start. And I want to keep looser brushwork here and get a nice thicker, wider one and keep my mixes light. throw a little water down on it. Keep that thin and washy and let myself find various stuff in that. Still keep into that latent splatter world's remnants here. Paint in the center of it. Is this the last one of these that I've got? I think it actually might be. Good. Use them up. It's dark. Yeah, definitely like leaning towards more of a night sky here. Deep purple and green. Interesting underpainting we've got going on. I'll do this. I'll sprinkle down a little alcohol. That's center. All right. Oh, that's right. Finally gave myself an alcohol spritzer. Nice. Okay. Wipe that up. I don't need to worry about saving that little bit. Throw some texture in there. Okay. Now, where was that circle? Here. Roughly in the center. Not perfectly, but it's there. All right. New water. And then I'm going to grab I'd rather not use that clean new filbert. Where's that other one? There we go. Round that back out. I'll circle template later with it, but I just want to get the rough idea of where that's at. When I start grabbing the knife for the subtractive sketch, which I've been doing more lately anyway. Okay. Now, knife. Big knife. Big knife. Tarantula. Find those lines in here again. The sketch is kind of just there as the underlying sketch is just an earlier guide. Like now I can really start finding stuff in here. Like the idea of making a pit. Glowing red pit where all the smoke's coming out of. Everything else just kind of find other stuff within that. Varying rocks. It feels pretty good. I really like that with the sky too. I probably won't have to do too much else to that. That dries, I'll throw a little splattery star on that, and it's probably good. The lower end I'll probably pull a little bit more up out of, but I'll let that be washier. Just painting about having a face full of smoke. Yeah, I can work with that. That's pretty good. How's that look on camera? Pretty shitty. Back that up a little. Best I can do at this angle. Alright. Have to touch those edges up maybe a little later. It's really wet still. Really wet. Coming from oils back to acrylics, and it's like, geez, it's still too wet. Everyone always complains that acrylics dry too fast. My problem is they don't dry fast enough. It's like now I'm ready for another layer, and I can't. I can push some of that around with a brush, though. Just push that texture a bit. Yes, YouTube, I'm still listening. Find the baseland around the rocks here. That works for me. No back and forth action. What's funny, I'll probably end up signing this one on this corner, like outside of the composition. Or even on the left, maybe. Because the way this all funnels in. God, we're still really wet. Jeez. That's what I get for thinning that out. I'd go back to the other one, but I know that's not going to be dry for a while, too. But I think these two are going to be really fun to definitely have messing with it. Thus far, I can already tell both of them are definitely show-worthy. Hate to say that this early in the piece, but still. Okay. That's probably fine without that. What time is it? 2. How long have I been streaming? I don't know. Almost 2 hours. Yeah, wow. Jeez. Holy hell. I didn't realize I've been streaming that long. That's pretty wild. Alright. Is there anything else I can start or finish? That's the real question, because I've got a whole bunch of other ones in here that I haven't really touched yet. That's another oil piece. I'm not touching that for a while. Like fucking 14, 15 things on my floor, and I don't want to work on any of them. That one, I'm gonna just have to look through my pile here. I don't remember if I cleaned this brush or not, so I'll just use the brush cleaner. Instant brush cleaner. Probably should make a video about that stuff. I don't know if I ever did. How to make the instant brush cleaner. I mean, it's not designed for like long-term use all the time, but I'll use it if I only grabbed one brush for like a day. Here, I use this brush for 20 minutes. I don't want to go to the sink and wash this. I just use the instant brush cleaner. Okay. Right, so that can be set aside. I don't even know if there is a specific title in that. It's just like face full of smoke, basically. I should put socks on. My foot's starting to cramp. What am I getting? These. All right. I gotta look for a composition for this. Ah, jeez. Okay, both feet are cramping now. I really gotta go put on socks. So I've got this. This is another, I think, was an oil starter. And I like that this kind of feels like a candle flame. So it looks good. Like everything I've done this year has been like orange and red. But I was playing with the idea of like melancholies, like the heart of melancholy. So this it looks red and vibrant and passionate, but it's a piece more about sadness, more or less. But I need to find something that fits this. And I like the idea of almost like a bit of a reflection, some water in this. But I want to look through the new stuff to find something that'll work for that. This is where the smoke thing came from. What are we at? This one looks good in here. Not much. This is fun. I'll probably do this not on this, but looks like a dragon coming down or something. And that I really like, but that'll involve some other references to be able to even paint a dragon at that angle. Might have to cut stream soon. I'm starting to cough too much. I'm looking at these smaller ones. There's some potentials in there. What number is that? 4. Those are too wide. It would cover a lot, but I do like that. Or this one even. That's what I love about these new pages is I can see a lot of different potential in all of them. And the flowier brushwork here really kind of gets my brain thinking towards, like everything in this new series is just pushing emotion into the work more. Nothing really there. Like none of these are, like this. This is the last one I did. There's a lot more here. I need smaller ones. Decisions. Nothing really fits. That I like. That one I like. One more look at this. So now I'm torn. Now I'm torn between two. I like this, but I also really like this because this is almost like a fish creature coming down, which might be better, like a koi fish that's like a sky koi fish. Damn. I like them both. I might have to think on this more. I don't necessarily want to pull the trigger on it, but they are options. I'm really leaning towards that more, but I'm gonna hold off because I feel like if I pull the trigger, I'm gonna run into more problems than I've got. I might have to call it here. I am also getting hungry. My pancakes wore off. Are we dry enough yet to add stars? No. Get a little more extra texture down here, though. Yeah, I'll glaze a little more of that aqua, maybe up this way, for that lower sky. Little white and turquoise to just edge that. Could probably do the circle. Drop this back down and grab a paint marker. All right. Where do the pages come from? Oh, I've been making those for the past couple of weeks. You've opened YouTube for a painting tutorial. Well, I've got a ton of them. If you need certain immediate help, I might be able to help you out before I call it a stream here. All right. we go. That helps. Good old circle templates. I was first on the list. That never happens. Yikes. That depends on what you were searching for, I suppose. All right, I'm losing my mind here. I have to put my slippers or socks or something on here. I'll keep streaming though. I'm on a roll here. You stand still for too long, your feet start cramping up. There we go. Get my. There we go. That's a nice base for that. Two vlogs ago, I think, I demo the big sheets on how to make them. Spooky that I'm right there for sure. Nice to have you though. Okay. Still not dry enough for stars. Damn. All right. So I'd do another sheet right now, but that would be a mental shift. Okay. Do I work on the ink one? I don't really want to work on the ink one. It would probably be good for camera though. Keep missing that. All right. Wait, where's the other? Oh, it's on the floor, right? It's on the floor. The worst part about using that gloss stuff is that I'm never going to be able to tell when it's dry because it's glossy when it dries. Alright, I got colorful canvases on the floor in every direction. Right, put that away. Alright. So. Yeah, what the hell, I'll work on the ink one for a couple minutes yet. I do need to do that. And it's small enough that it shouldn't be that terrible. Okay. Huh. It's what again, like this is what I get for starting on the easel today, because now I can't do the top-down perspective without completely cutting the stream and spending 20 minutes setting that mess up. Okay. Pastel base, several layers of fixative, and there was probably paint on there to start. So this is a nice, simple little one. Let me get my stool back. Ugh. I want to start with this brown. Oh, hello! Don't kick the thing. Start with some little Higgins brown. Do I want this or do I want a brush? I want a bigger brush. Where are my other ink tools here? Bigger brush or a feather? Or even a dip pen. Probably not the dip pen. Watercolor brushes. And a little ink. Water reservoir for the ink. Okay. Wet that. Grab the brown. Just get the forest in the back started here. This has been sitting for like a month. I haven't touched this. I really need to get to it. I am going to need a bigger brush though. Bigger than this, wider than this. Need to get some wider trunks. Maybe not. So glad I finally put socks on. Needed to do that for like an hour. How many ads is he going to feed me today? Jeez. Do I paint in acrylic and oil? Typically I paint in acrylic, but my studio is stocked with basically every medium, so I it's really project specific. It's whatever I feel like working with and whatever. This piece is very much more mixed media. It's fun to jump around between different media. I've been on a journey in the past year or so to start using up more of my materials that I don't touch as often. It's like no point in collecting a bunch of stuff if you're never going to use it. Now, I'm not sure what this will do in the long run since this brown is a dye-based ink. So it might just kind of turn black eventually, but it is what this my mixed media projects are for, though, is to have something to work on while I'm waiting for other paint to dry. Usually have at least one going on. jeez. Okay. Ordering some ink immediately. Oh, I mean, there's there's a lot that can be done. I mean, you can do this with acrylic. It's totally possible. Involves a bit more water and sometimes some medium, but I mean, this is already a lot of different layered media on top of one on top of the other. Um, I'd say don't let me be the gateway drug to spending too much money. Even though that's kind of what this channel is anyway. It's like, here, look at this cool thing. Yeah, it's alright. I don't know why I put that brush away, because I'm gonna need it back in like 2 seconds when I start with the blacks here. Start with the blacks sounds like not a good thing to say. I might have to rescind that later. Okay. Classic black magic. Nice little dark foresty action. Alright, now I can put that brush away. I'll probably be grabbing some acrylic on top of this for the greens, since I don't have an opaque enough ink. But, because ink technically is, typically, not technically, is not going to be opaque, but other than black. surface tension back out there. Or maybe colored pencils or more pastels. I haven't really decided yet. Just a nice little side project here. Something I don't really have to think about. You know, like the other stuff, it's like I tend to have to think more about. Any more than that, I'm gonna run into a bigger problem. Part of this was also to finally get around to trying some of this white ink, which I picked up like 2 years ago and never touched. Okay. Spending money you don't have on artists you don't need. That sounds about right. The inks, the one that I was just using, it's the Higgins Black Magic. I've got some Speedball in here too. It's the white is a Winsor & Newton. Of course, I'm going to switch this water out now because it's probably pretty black. Not in the good way. Cream? No, thank you. I'll take it black, like my men. Okay. Yeah, this is probably a little too early to be using this as the finisher, but I've been dying to try it. Let's see, the light kind of up and from the sides, so yeah, ink has a nice flowiness to it that for branches, thin lines, what have you. Oh, see, this is good. See, this is gonna mix with the. I'm just gonna put some of this down on a palette here. It's gonna mix with that underlying brown that's still a little bit moist. Heh, moist. I don't want to pollute my well with it though either. Yeah, the Winsor & Newton inks I think tend to be a little bit more opaque, but I'm not sure if they're actually pigmented inks or not. Mix that in with that log. I actually really liked how that's turning out already. A little bit of water in there. Just picking up on all that's still somewhat wet brown under there. I just pull that around. That's all right. Liquitex ink. Yeah, Liquitex ink is an acrylic ink. It's basically like a really thin acrylic paint. I used to have some a long time ago. Actually, the last one I have left, I just mixed them all together into this bottle. Um, I mostly have moved into the using the golden high flows in my workflow, just because the pigment load's a lot higher and it's a lot more versatile. I have to get some of that brown back out. Yeah, I want more of that brown. The walnut ink might be better though too. That's a better brown, but I'll stick with what I got for now. Let's say the advantage I would say to the Liquitex ink or the Golden High Flows compared to the Higgins is that they're pigment based versus dye based, because dye based inks will fade over time and pigment inks won't. But it is a slight trade off one way or the other for techniques and stuff like that. Moving too fast, I got carried away. It's just bleeding into a nasty mess now. That's okay. I can fix it. Get my stiff brush out. Just scrape with it. That's why I like doing the mixed media stuff, is because I can just screw around with different techniques and discover new things. Mix the inks together, turn it into something. Discover new things within that. Is it conventional? You're supposed to use that way? Not really, but that's half the fun. It's alright. Now I got Breath of the Wild on my mind. Like, hide an acorn over there that hanging by a chain or something. Yeah, haha, you found me. The yeah for this, other than again, I'm not really sure if the Winsor and Newton the white ink was pigment or not, but the other ones were dye based. Yeah. Okay, where'd my Kleenexes go? Excuse me. clean that off. I might be able to add those stars finally. Yay! Alright, I'm going to give it another about 15 minutes here. I'll have to cut it and eat lunch. I'll do a final showcase at the end to recap everything I've got done. Let me get that a rinse with that. I don't trust that to not pull up next time I'm using that brush. Yeah, I'll have to sit on that a little bit longer now, too, and see what I want to do on top of that. I'm leaning towards more pastels, but not sure. Okay, we'll need some white. Probably grab the acrylic wash for that. It's the most effective. Alright, slide you back over. Little white. Okay, that, this, thin that out. Just give it a star belt. Haha! Oh, that's always fun to do. Well, thinner ones right here. I'll be covering it up with smoke mostly anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but... Nice starter. Okay. That color, this color in there. Rinse that out. That's probably the most productive I've been in weeks. Ah. Don't drop your brush, Ben. Alright. So I got that started. Fun new idea with the charcoal smoke thing. This, which is still drying, and will still be drying for a while. On the other half of that fun little thing, the reaching dark creature. Oh, sorry. Moved my mic to cough and didn't bring it back. Right. So, big reversible piece. Happy to have it done. Roughly 3 months and a shitload of oil paint. So there we are. Yeah, good painting session. Very productive. Rare for me to be this productive on a Sunday afternoon, too. But it's lunchtime. So, that's going to do it for this stream. Once this processes, of course, it will be back. Anything you missed, you can go back and rewatch once the video processes. Obviously, it'll probably take 2 or 3 hours for it to process, but YouTube. Um, so yeah, live thing for this week. Next week, either will be a vlog or some. Actually, might make a. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably did have a video about the portable brush cleaner. Been making videos for over a decade. It's like I just forget all the things that I've done. Okay, so that's gonna do it. Thanks guys for watching. Keep on creating, and I'll see you guys next time.